Today we are joined by the I can't even say that word.
Unapologetically.
Thank you. Hilarious Talia Lichtenstein.
I like mommy in bed.
We're going to try that. I just want to see if I like it or not.
Everybody wants the wow, and the wow is not a real thing because they watch movies too much.
Was this a wow?
No, the wow. So, no.
Who pays for a first date?
In my mind, the first couple dates, the man should pay because it signifies an acknowledgement of the inequity that we're naturally at. I also think it's hot when they have money.
So fucking sexy.
It's hot.
Welcome back to another episode of First Rounds on Me, a First Rounds on Media production. Today we are joined by the I can't even say that word.
Unapologetically.
Thank you. Hilarious Talia Lichtenstein, a woman who has built an entire brand on saying exactly what's on her mind. While some may clutch their pearls at her takes, others love her for cutting through the internet's excessive toxic positivity. Love her or fear her, Talia is here to speak her truth. Today we're diving into some of dating's most controversial and conversation-sparking topics. And yes, of course, there will be some games. Talia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful intro.
Thank you. We've said this on the last couple of podcasts, but Joe hates the intros. I love the intros.
No, you have to give a little debrief.
A little spiel.
They're
You have
okay.
to give a spiel.
We always say the intro itself is great. The guests love it.
That was a lot shorter than the rest of them.
Yeah, it was good.
That was a good one.
You didn't say unapologetically, right?
I liked it though.
That's my...
I like how you said unapologetic.
Blah, 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 blah.
That was cute.
It really breaks the ice, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We always start the podcast off this way. Are you single? Are you in a relationship? Are you somewhere in between?
I'm so somewhere in between.
Are you okay?
Do you call it a situationship?
No, I don't do that. I really, my natural state is single. I think I really like being single, and it just takes a lot of time for me to accept when I'm not. You know what I mean?
What's the thing you like most about being single?
There's actually nothing I don't like about being single. I think that I'm supposed to be single forever, and I'm gonna have to settle down because I don't know, for like tax purposes or something. And I'll like find someone like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to like do like credit card stuff or like anything financial or tech. Like at one point, my eyesight will go and I'll need someone to help me with like the computer in my house. And that's when I'll be like, I should probably find
So like technological companionship
Yes.
versus
I just
anything
don't
else,
like
really.
hanging out with anyone that much. And like, I've yet to find anyone I like hanging out with that much, but I'm open to it. I'm so down to be proven wrong. I am so into romance. I would love to find the person. So I do date, and that's why I'm kind of confused right now. I just got out of something, but I don't know if we're really out because I had sex with him yesterday. So
Why do you keep going back? If you like being single, why do you go back to this one person in particular?
Oh, it's not just one person.
Oh,
No.
okay.
I mean, this was my most recent, but I've noticed a pattern. Every time it gets cold, I do this. Like, I always like get a boyfriend when it turns to like November, December.
Oh, so all the things that are true, like what
Yeah.
do they call it? Cuffing season.
Cuffing.
Yeah,
season.
statistically true.
Yeah.
Also, New
1000%.
York is like the hardest place to date for the best reason.
Everyone
It's
says
just
that,
fun.
but is it that hard? What
No,
makes it
it's saying
hard?
it's hard to not hard. It's not common to be in a relationship because it's so fun to date here.
I totally agree.
So it's not hard, it's easy to be single here. That's what you're trying to say.
Yes,
Yes.
I think that's a better way to put it. It's actually not hard to date in New York. It's just fun to be single.
Yeah. It's easy.
There
I
you
don't
go.
know if it's fun to be single for most people, but it's very easy to be alone. Like it's the best place to entertain yourself. And be
Yeah, and
alone.
also I'm sure when you go out every night and everybody's single, it's probably really fun. Where
So
it's like,
fun.
who's hooking up tonight?
I know I'm missing the going out every night part, but everything else I do.
But also you're 27. Like you should, I mean,
Right.
truthfully.
26.
Sorry, 26. My apologies.
What part of town are you
That was
in?
so rude. That was so rude of me.
I'm in the East Village.
Okay.
But
east side.
that makes me feel old. That's the worst place I could be right now. If I don't
Really? A
wanna
lot of
feel old.
youngins around there?
Everyone's like 12. Yeah.
Well, the West Village got super young now too.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. I think I'm gonna go uptown next.
Oh,
Where are you guys?
Financial.
Okay.
Actually,
Battery
Park.
Oh,
families.
I'm
Families.
understanding like the
Right,
parameters of how to say everything. All right, you were just on Oh Hot and Single.
yeah.
Like literally released yesterday,
I
right?
was on that.
That was,
What'd you think?
I loved it.
Really?
You're hilarious.
Oh, good.
I loved what you said about I get to meet a man that's as good as my girlfriend's.
It's true.
And perhaps part of the reason why you're still single.
Yeah.
And then I loved, what was it like? Do you have any ones that got away? You're like, no, I have penises that got away,
I do.
but not people.
I
And
never
loved
like
that.
think about like, oh, I miss that guy. He was so funny.
What's a penis that got away?
Oh, like a
dick that got away.
dick that got away, like a
But
boy
why?
that I.
What makes it good?
Oh, what makes it good? It's not really the dick. It's the motion of the ocean.
So that's true too.
It's the way in which you use it.
It's the way you use it.
Oh, okay.
There are certain people who just like know what they're doing. There's this one guy from college I think about all the time. There was absolutely nothing about his personality that was appealing whatsoever. I think he was actually like kind of conservative in a way I didn't like just like really radical and weird, and like we had literally nothing in common. But I, to this day, I'm like, oh, I wish he'd visit. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I used to sleep with this fella way before Joe, obviously.
We don't know. 99.9%.
We don't know.
99.9%. And he was like the saddest man I've ever met. Like he was just like such a depressed human being, but my God, was he good in bed? And like that's what you think about, you know what I mean? It's not the fact that he was just depressed and it was like really sad to be around him. It's that's what you think
You're
about.
the best sex I ever had.
That is such a nice compliment.
So nice of you to say.
That's beautiful. Do you
now
think
I
it's
have
because
the-
you're in love, or just because she's great?
No, because I
Both.
think as a single guy,
Yeah.
I never knew what like the emotional side of sex where you actually connect with somebody. It was
Intimacy.
always just like a one night stand,
Sure.
and it was just I never experienced
Right.
what you could do if you feel comfortable with somebody.
Oh, and you're comfortable.
So
And also, I
comfortable.
have the upper hand tonight because she just talked about the best sex of her life, who wasn't me, and now I. Said
I didn't say
she's
it
the
wasn't
best
you.
sex of
I just said that was really good sex.
Right.
yeah.
Don't
Now
put
you
words in my
have to be
mouth, sir.
super nice.
Anyway, moving on. I love the
Wolf's got my back.
I love the rapid fire nature of I wasn't single, and so I want to ask you some like rapid fire icebreaking
Please,
questions.
I love
Ready?
to rapid fire.
What's a toxic trait that you low key find attractive?
Bossy.
Oh,
I like it when they know what to do. I like it. I wouldn't want a guy to like order for me.
I was just
You know
gonna
what I
say,
mean?
is that too bossy?
That's a little too bossy, but I like when they like text me, we're going here, we're doing this, meet that time. Although if I say, oh, that doesn't work for me, they have to be like, oh, it's totally fine, don't worry about it. But like they have to make the plans. I like that traditional aspect of it. Of a man, excuse me. Is that toxic? I don't think it's
I don't think it's toxic at all.
I
I think
like
that's a
when they're
feature of
bossy.
First Rounds on Me.
It's legitimately a first round to me feature.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Is it a red flag if someone wants to go on a first date to the gym?
Yes. that's just not someone I would ever wind up with. I would never be talking to that person.
First date to the gym, that's
It's wild,
pretty
right?
extreme date.
It's just crazy.
But like,
It's-
if you meet them at a run club and they're like, you know that they're super into fitness, does that make sense? Obviously, it's like very particular, but for me, I would be like, ugh.
you're already like on the wrong person. If I meet them at a run club, you've lost me. Why am I even here? You know what I mean?
If someone calls their mum mummy in casual conversation, is that a deal breaker?
No, actually, it's not.
You find it endearing?
It's not endearing. It's just not a deal breaker. Like they can't say daddy to their dad, mom or mummy. Also, it's more of a Brit thing, right? To say mummy. I don't know. Mommy is fine.
Hannah,
that
that was a turn off to Hannah. That my mom
Wasn't a turn off. I was just very confused by
very
it.
turned off. My mom would reference her and my dad as, you know, daddy said this, or, you know,
Oh, yeah.
mommy said that.
I think
And
that's
she was-
fine.
yeah, and I was like, well, it's just like a
I
New
think
York
it's-
Italian thing.
I think
don't know.
it's like a cultural thing though, because like in Australia, it's not how we roll.
Oh, yeah,
But
I
that's
guess so.
okay. But the first time I heard it, I was like, and then once he called his dad daddy, and I was like, wow, like it was a Freudian slip. You just randomly said it in a sentence, and I think it's because your mum said it. But I was like,
I'd have to hear it in context.
yeah.
It's not that bad.
It would just depend. There's also, I like mommy in bed. So maybe
Oh,
that's,
do you?
that's an influence on that. Mm-hmm.
I've never heard that before.
I do. I really do.
We're gonna try that. I just want to see if I like it or not.
Try it out.
I might be really annoyed. I might
With
be
you.
grossed out. Do you like daddy?
Nah, because I'm not a daddy energy.
Well, you're
I don't
about to
know.
be.
I don't know.
Well, we'll see. Okay,
I feel like if you called me daddy, it'd be like, oh, she's expecting more. I don't know if I can give her the daddy
Really?
energy.
you know what? Well, let's test it out and see. We'll get back to you.
How'd you guys meet again?
We met
Hinge.
on a dating app,
That's adorable.
Hinge. but in the exact way that First Rounds on Me works. Like we were like this accidental proof of concept because he was like building the app as we met in 20, and we're a pandemic relationship.
Oh my God, I
We met
love
in
it.
2020, and now we're 4 years on. We're 2 years married. Almost 2 years married. Hey, isn't that crazy?
Oh, yeah. Thanks for reminding
That's
me. Our
really
anniversary's
cute.
coming up.
Oh my God, what's your anniversary?
April 14th.
Guys.
I know. Isn't that
That's
so
really
sweet?
special.
We love each other. He really is my best friend, and we have so much fun doing it. We work and live with each other. We just like pretty much spend every minute of every day with
Guys,
each
you're
other.
changing my mind a little bit.
Stop it. We'll
I'll think
convince you.
about
We'll
it.
convince you. What's your most irrational but non-negotiable ick for you?
My most irrational but non-negotiable. I said this on, I hate to repeat myself, but I really don't like it when a single man has a pet. It's like a huge thing for me. I could never. If I see a man on the street walking with a dog, it's such a bummer because I'm like, oh fuck, okay, he's going back to his girlfriend with a stupid fucking dog because what straight man has a dog? Or he's a straight guy with a dog, which is like, what are you trying to prove? I feel like it's so performative and like weird.
So Talia,
That's such an interesting take.
that was one of my tactics when I was single.
Well, thank you. That's why it's always a tactic.
I would take my dog from home, bring him into the city, bring him to the dog park in the morning, and hope that a girl would be like, oh my God, your dog's so cute, let's go out.
Yeah, that's why guys we see through that. I do. And I'm like, ew. But I see exactly
But what's the
what
other
you're trying to
downside
do.
of that besides seeing through it?
A boy. I call them all boys. All girls are women and all men are boys. And boys, when they take care of a dog, they think they're like God's gift. Like, oh my God, I keep this dog alive. Like the bare minimum is such a huge deal for them to like feed the dog every day. It's like, he's so responsible. First of all, boys already smell bad. A pet makes you smell worse. Secondly, you're like, oh yeah, I take care of a dog. I must be so responsible. I'm so together. And it just gives them this sense of superiority that I don't think is earned. Because like if you can keep a dog alive, it's not that hard. And it's just a thing that couples do is get a dog together. It just makes me
What
feel like,
about the
oh,
flip side
it
of it?
came from a relationship.
What about the flip side of it?
Single woman.
Oh no, I have a cat.
Why? But why? Why doesn't
I
it work
love
the
the
other
cat.
way?
Oh my God, I would die. I'm like the total stereotype of a cat mom too.
Because you know what you just said is everything that Hannah said to me when I met her. She had a dog.
Really?
And she was like, I keep the dog alive. I'm the dog's mom. And the dog sleeps in the bed with me.
Yeah.
And I said the bed smells. And the bed's hairy. And the bed makes me itch.
That doesn't smell. You just said it was hairy because she does shed like a
Yeah,
motherfucker.
so pretty much you just said what Hannah does, but it doesn't apply to women.
But it's
apparently.
okay for
No,
women
it
to do
doesn't. It's called
Oh,
a double
interesting.
standard, and they're the best thing about life, actually.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Get on board, Joe.
Yeah, I would. If someone didn't like my cat, like if we were gonna move in together and they were like, the exception is that you can have me or the cat, that would be like, no, absolutely not. The cat stays with me. Cat's getting buried with me. The cat, I will not die after my cat. Like I'm sorry, but like a dog, no, like get rid of the dog and you can move in.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a cat person, so we're like opposite in that regard.
Right.
However, I respect you for it.
I love all animals. I just don't want a man to have one.
That's fair.
Yeah. What kind of dog do you have?
We have
No,
a,
she has the dog.
well, she's ours now.
But who did you bring to the dog park?
Oh, Boxer.
Oh God.
Duke. Oh, he's so gorgeous.
it's just
R.I.P.
slobbers everywhere. We have a corgi terrier.
Oh, that's cute.
She's itty bitty and adorable. Her name's
That's adorable.
Delilah.
And Hannah used to be so upset because I treated the dog like a little rat at first. I was like, this dog's so annoying. It's this little thing that sleeps in the bed. And she used to get so upset. And then
Then
No.
you fell in love.
we fell in love and I fell in love with the dog.
Right. That's what's supposed to happen. That's special.
All right, let's bring it back to the beginning. How did you start in content creation?
I came out of college and I was just fucking around on TikTok. I was applying to jobs. I saw myself being like or I really wanted to be like on the Late Show when I was older, or the Daily Show or something like that. And so I thought I'll just start making videos so that when I apply to these types of like PA jobs and bullshit like that, I can like I'll prove myself as having tried first, and people would read the applications and see that I was legit. And then the videos took off before I got any of those jobs.
And so you're like, fuck it, may as well just
I
keep
was
doing
like, yeah,
this.
fuck it. I got like a podcast deal that brought me to New York. I did that podcast for about 5 minutes, but then I liked New York a lot. And I did a Snapchat show for a little while.
Amazing.
It just like launched little projects that were able to like pay the bills. And I was like, okay, it looks like I don't need a full-time job. Now I'm not so sure. But before, it was pretty good living for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of like, we'll see. I'm dancing around the idea of like, maybe we switch things up. I don't
What
know.
would you want to do?
I still have the same aspiration. I still want to be like a correspondent in a funny way, like a political satire, someone on the Daily Show, or like a Samantha Bee type of person. That's always what I wanted. But I still have this like weird obsession with traditional TV, whereas everyone in my life, in my like sphere of people I work with, like the whole industry is just like, oh, you're in the optimal spot. You're in tech. You have a following on digital. That's where you want to be. Forget TV. Dive into this. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be on a TV show with like way less viewers than any TikTok will ever get.
But I
That's
think
all I
that
care
that's
about.
so beautiful that you keep that at the heart of what you're doing, because it's obviously like a real through line. And I think it really informs the content that you put out, because like I did so much research on you, and you really do get that like that satirical correspondent almost being like, you know what I fucking hate. And then it comes off that way. So I think that the fact that that's your through line, and never say never. Like, yes, digital is here to stay 100%. Doesn't mean that we can't shift back or shift forward to something like that, because I know plenty of people who still watch those TV shows. They're still relevant for a reason, you know what I mean?
Would you do
I'd like
stand
to
up?
make them relevant. I have tried stand up. I feel like it's a good thing. I always say that. I feel sorry. There's like certain things that you feel like you repeat on every podcast. So
Yes,
if
of
anyone's
course.
like listening to this, just skip forward like a couple of minutes. I feel like I should have like stand up sort of in my toolkit. So I try to get up once in a while, but I think I'm okay at it. I don't enjoy it at all. I think that stand up is the type of thing that you have to really like in order to be good at it. You have to want to get up all the time. You can't do it halfway. And I'm like, by definition, trying to do it halfway. I'm like, oh, I think I should like have 5 minutes just in case. Whereas everyone else there is like, it's my dream to be Dave Chappelle and like, fuck you. And so I feel like I just like, I hate to say it, I've like taken stage time. Like I shouldn't even be there. I don't enjoy it, but I think maybe I'll delve into it more. My favorite thing to do is like videos where I hold the camera and I'm kind of like exploring a place as like a journalist, but in a funny way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Explain. What do you mean? Give us a scenario. Right now.
Right now. God.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to mind was when I was a senior in high school. I did this project. They gave us 3 weeks off. I went to this stupid private school where they would like basically just give us 3 weeks off at the end of senior year to like do whatever we wanted. And that was their thing where they were like, we're so progressive, but it was actually just, you just don't want to teach us anything. So we had to submit a proposal for a project and like go off. It was like independent study and do our own project and then come back at the end of 3 weeks and present it to like all the parents in the whole school. And I made this mini documentary where I went to the public school that I was like assigned by geography, like where I lived. So instead of going to the private school that my parents had like really sacrificed to send me to, I went to a public school, and everyone at my private school was very small, and it was K through 12, and it was just really I don't want to say sheltered. It was kind of funky and cool, but it was a totally different experience. And I went to public elementary and then switched to private for 6 through 12. So I did a week undercover as a public school student. And I shot it like a documentary, and I interviewed people, but it was like me just like chatting with them. And I shot it all on my phone. I shot it all on my phone. And to this day, which is so fucking pathetic, this thing that I made when I was 18 is like the coolest thing I've ever made to this day. I watch it all the time.
I was going to say, do you sit there and rewatch it?
public?
Because I totally would too.
I need to I should put it on YouTube or something. It is something I'm really proud of. Like, I think it was really the first time I was like, felt like I was doing something that was like, this is my calling. This is what I'm really having fun. I feel like I'm learning. I feel like I'm pushing myself. I feel like I am where I'm supposed to be. Like, I loved doing that. So that's what I want to do now. I'd love to have like a show where I do more stuff like that. Like,
I really feel like
Chelsea
you
does.
should put that out into the ether, because I think that they would like bring in something else like it. You know what I mean?
I really hope so.
Do
That's
it.
what I want to do. My dream is to have a show where I go around and I date incels. That's my dream. Do you know what incels are?
I do.
Involuntary celibates.
Yes, 100.
They're men who like hate women.
Because they feel it's their problem that they're celibate, that they can't get any.
Scoop time.
It's very school time.
I would watch that.
It,
Thank you. I
But
have
also-
shot a little pilot, but it hasn't sold. Anyone out there, come get it.
if we had the money and the network to do it, I swear to God, because that'd be so entertaining. We must talk about that more afterwards. All right, so you've literally in the last couple of years, you've done a lot of podcasts. I was like doing research, not only our very own Allowed to Ask, but like Hannah Berner, and We Met at Acme, like the list could literally go on. Out of the ones that you've done, what's your favorite and why? You can't say this one.
I know immediately what's my least favorite. But
So I was going to
favorite-
say, like, if you want to say your least favorite, but also
My least favorite, we shot right in the next room with Hannah Berner. That was before we were really close friends. And it was the first like big podcast I had done. And I remember I was really scared because she had such a young female audience. Like, her audience was an audience I was really trying to get and bring over into my world as well. Like, we have the same type of target demographic. So it just felt like the first time that it was like, my friends back home were like, oh my God, you're going on Hannah's? I know Hannah. Like, it was a real famous person, a really relevant person. And I was so nervous, and I tried really hard, I think, to be quippy and quick and be like trying to win over her audience in like the sort of like toxic female way that I do, like the way that I thought that girls who like her would like. And now when I look back on that, I've listened to it a couple times. I'm like, this isn't me. Like, that's just not how I would answer the questions. I wish I could go back. Maybe one day I'll redo it with her. But I listen back. I'm like, that's not me. I wish the first big podcast I did, I had stayed more true to myself. I wasn't lying, but I was like nervous.
But I think that's normal.
Yeah.
When I look back on the first podcast we did, it is so ridiculous because I was trying to be funny. I was like, oh,
Right.
the point of a podcast is you have to go viral and get these clips.
Right.
And by nature, I'm not really an outwardly funny person. So I'm like trying to be funny. I'm trying to say these jokes. And I was watching it and I thought, wow, this is brutal.
Right. There's nothing worse
You're
than
trying to put in a
watching yourself on
performance. That's just
podcast.
that regardless.
And I think it takes a long time. I think even to this day, if you're not really a natural at it, it takes some getting used to.
Yeah.
But being yourself, it's hard. And I think once you are yourself, it's the best because you could just sit here and talk to people. And like, that's the best experience.
Yeah. There's nothing more excruciating to me than like thinking about other like the past podcasts I've done. And it's weird because when I'm sitting on the couch, even my own podcast, sitting on the couch, I feel so comfortable. I feel like I can say anything. And that's the problem is I don't censor myself in the moment. And I walk out and I'm like, oh my God, should I ask them to cut this out? But then I listen a month later, I'm like, I didn't even say anything interesting. I get so in my head.
I think it's so easy to get in your head though, because particularly when you're going through these moments, it's almost like you go into a bit of a blackout. Like you're on a roll, you're flowing, and you're like, what the fuck did I just say? Yeah. Is there anything that I should be kind of worried about? But I think the more you lean into who you are as a human being, the more people love. Right. And that goes for everybody. People love us because of how unique you are and your flaws and like all of these perceived flaws.
Yeah.
And so it's just a beautiful thing to keep fucking going.
Amen.
I always compare our podcast now to Nobody Wants This, the two girls.
Sure.
And I'm like, damn, they do it so well. And like they just sit and they're two sisters and they shoot the shit.
And that's a fictitious podcast.
Yeah, and it's a movie.
Right.
So it's like they have the best writers writing their podcast.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh, I want to be like them.
No, you'll get it.
But nobody can be like that.
Right.
It's fake, you know?
It's fake, babes.
It's totally
you were
fake.
on one recently, Bad Days podcast.
Yes.
Which I thought was A, hilarious. B, I love the name because obviously like anything to do with dating really
hysterical.
connects with us. What's your worst date story?
Oh my God. Well, I told that one and the person called me after, or I happened to call him because I was like bored and he was like, I can't believe you're calling me.
Sorry to cut you off. You told a bad date story
Yes.
about this person.
Yes.
And then you called him because you were bored.
Isn't that fucked up? I'm insane, right? That's
In
crazy.
the best way possible.
So
actually.
wait, let me just wrap my head around this because this is amazing. So you told the story. You reminded yourself, oh my God, that was such a bad date. But I want to talk to him. So let me just call him.
Yeah, it's complicated. I have no, I don't know. He seems to think I have like residual anger, which is definitely true. But like, it's just kind of that type of, this person in my life, like it's just a really interesting, entertaining story. I won't retell it. You have to go listen to that one. I'll think of a new one.
And
but
it's
like,
not conservative college sex guy.
no, it's not. Okay. Oh, but he's so fun. No, I have like this crazy date story that happened to me when I was like a freshman in college, and it's just my kind of go-to. Like I'm on a podcast about dating. They asked for a crazy story. I gave them a couple options and they chose this one, so I told it. But I don't know. But then I don't actively like hate the guy anymore. I just think it's like a crazy story, and he made some mistakes in it, so I share them. But then I was bored, so I called him and he was like, I can't believe you want to talk to me. Maybe we should break down that podcast appearance you were on. And I was like, oh fuck, I totally forgot.
But now I'm
The
really
fact that
intrigued about what the bad date was.
No, you have to go and listen. You have to go and listen.
I
to
can't
it.
retell
Should
it
not retelling
again.
it again.
Look what happened when I retold it.
But also at
Where'd
the
you
same
go to
time,
college? You have
UC
two-
Berkeley.
You have two college stories now.
What do you mean?
College
Oh,
sex
college
guy.
Republican. All of my sex that I've ever had in my life happened
UC
in college.
Berkeley, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Bad date. It's so weird. That was like my crazy one, but then the rest are just like, I don't know. Like a couple months ago, I went on a date with a guy from Hinge, and I think I knew right off the bat that he was going to be so pretentious and terrible, but I kind of wanted to prove to him. Like I saw his Hinge and I was like, this guy's a fucking asshole and he thinks he's smarter than me. So I have to go on a date to prove that he's not.
Okay.
But I knew from it was so insufferable from the second I got there. I was like, why am I here? And he was really trying to impress me, but he never asked me a single question, as it always goes.
The worst.
And he wound up talking to me about how much he loves Spain and like Spanish culture and how he's supposedly fluent in Spanish. And he goes into like a little Spanglish, which is like the worst, biggest ick of all time. And I never got a chance to mention, like, I spent a long time living in Spain, and we never got to that. So he's just like telling me about Spain, and I kept being like, well, yeah, I agree. I couldn't like get in that I like
So he's
live
sitting
there.
there being like, so Madrid's here and Barcelona's here.
Right.
And he's like,
just giving me the whole
dude, yeah, no, I
history
lived
of Spain.
Yeah.
And then he walked into this place. He's like, oh, yeah, these people know me here. It was an Indian restaurant, okay? All the employees are Indian. And he walks in and he starts talking to them in Spanish. And he's like, yeah, they know me. And everyone in this restaurant was like, what the fuck? And they were about to close. And he like insists that they give him, what's the mango drink? Mango lassi. Mm-hmm. It's delicious. But he was like insisted in Spanish that they give him the drink. He's like, yeah, they know me. I'm like, I think we just stole this. And then we walked out and that was it. Oh, it was terrible. I'll think more on the details of it.
But it also sounds like almost like a repeat date that so many women have had.
Yeah, and you know, he like, that's his move. Is he like walks them by this Indian place and is like, they know me here. I just grabbed one of these out of the fridge and it's fine. And everyone was like, there's that fucking guy again. Like,
keep stealing the fucking mango lassies. Oh my god,
stealing all of our drinks. Yeah, that was a bad one.
Oh darling.
But yeah,
right, let's go on to first dates though, because it's like there's just so many things around first dates.
Sure.
And I think the biggest, most defining question that always comes up is, who pays for a first date?
The boy.
Why?
Because I think, okay, I don't want to get too deep, but in my mind, the first couple dates, the man should pay, because it signifies an acknowledgement of the inequity that we're naturally at. It's not like we have to have a whole conversation. I just expect him to acknowledge by offering to pay that we are not equals. And that's sort of his, like, you put in so much more, you know, to go on a date with a man by yourself is inherently, I think there's risky aspects of it. It's just like, it takes a lot more thought, time, money, energy for a woman. So I just expect you to, in the gesture of putting your card down first, to me, that's an acknowledgement. And then third date, we can move on from that.
That was the most intelligently succinct way I think I've ever heard that explanation.
Oh, thank you very much.
Like that viewpoint.
I also think it's hot when they have money.
So fucking sexy.
It's hot.
I mean, that's a woman's perspective.
That's what I'm saying. Put that perspective. I think that's like this like most succinct way I've ever heard that
See,
done.
I think
please.
Same outcome, different perspective. I think.
Pray tell.
I think that a man should pay for the first few dates because it's kind of the same thing, but just worded very differently.
Sure.
Because
so he wants to say my answer, but a little bit different.
But in a man's way.
Please.
Yes, not because of hundreds of years of inequality. Because I think some traditional courtships and courting and valuing a woman's time, and I do think, right, there's a lot more that goes into it. And you should say, I value the time that you want to come spend with me.
Right.
Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be here.
Right.
I'm going to make this a fun, safe environment, and I'm going to pay for it.
Right. So like basically just exactly what I said.
Exactly what Talia said. But thank you so much for giving us your perspective, darling. Really appreciate it.
Hola.
Hola. Let's go straight into the fucking segment.
Go buy me mango lassi.
That was funny. You do have
Wolf
moments
knows
of
me
funny.
here. Wolf.
I think you're really funny.
Wolf, don't back him up.
No, yeah, that's how I feel.
Where's the worst possible place you should take somebody on a first date? Or you could.
The gym, like we mentioned. Any sort of physical activity or a movie. I never understood the whole dinner and a movie thing. We're not talking during the movie. That's
I think
stupid.
dinner.
Yeah, dinner's fine.
No, I think dinner's
dinner's
awful.
bad, really?
I had the worst first date dinner experience.
You're kidding.
Oh my
Pray
God.
tell.
I met this girl in New York City, and I was like,
Anyway.
Okay, like this is my type. I'm gonna marry this woman. I'm gonna give her the best first date ever.
Is this about her?
No.
Oh, that's all.
So I Googled the most romantic restaurant in New York City.
Sure.
And I was 26, so I obviously didn't have the money to go to this place.
Right.
So I set it all up. I go there, and I could tell within 5 minutes she's like really not into me. I'm like,
Right.
fuck. Have the date. Waiter comes out and is like, okay, I'm gonna bring the cake out. You know, what's the occasion? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, why are you here? And I was like, oh, it's a first date. He's like, you're here on a first date? There's no occasion? I was like, yeah. She hears this, comes out. I get the bill. It's like $600. She
Wolf.
is so turned off that I took her there. And I'm like, man, she had to sit here with me for 3 hours, watch me eat, build up this bill. And it was just the worst 3 hours of our lives.
The expectation that you placed upon that first date.
So from there on, that's
wild.
when the inception of First Rounds on Me started. I was like,
Oh, wow.
we should not be locked in on a first date for 3 hours.
Right.
That's not fair to either of us.
Well, I think that's also that entire terrible situation, if I might, was completely and entirely your orchestration.
Oh, 100%.
Like that's like
Oh,
your
no.
fault. But
100%.
if it was just like a quick, like if we went to, I'm trying to think of like a cash restaurant, like a build your own pizza place.
Super fun.
That's a good dinner.
It's interactive as well, I think.
Super fun.
You're doing something together. You're building something together. I think that's really fun.
Something like chill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not Serafina. What's the place? What's the place that's like everywhere and it's a chain?
Starbucks? No, I'm joking.
No, not Starbucks. Rosemary's.
Rosemary's? I don't
One of
know.
those
Heard of
like
it.
bullshit places in like the West Village. I don't know. One of these chains.
All right,
Something that's not
question
too
for you.
fancy.
How long should you talk on a dating app before you meet in person?
Oh, it shouldn't go past like where are you from? What neighborhood are you from? Like, it should just be like a couple little banters back. I would say like 10 messages max back and forth before you decide, okay, let's get drinks. But it's a delicate balance because I really don't like when a guy's like, let's cut the small talk and blah, 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 and it's been like 2 messages. It's like, you're gonna murder me. You're so weird.
What's the best first message? And not a pickup line though. Like, what's the best like actual
interesting
question?
open liner?
Yeah.
Has to be something pertinent to what I have on my profile. I have many. If you have to look through my profile, this is sometimes it's at fault the person who made a bad profile. Like, there should be talking points, but you should be able to look through 4 photos and 3 prompts of anybody and pick out something specific and say like, yes, I have seen that movie, or, oh my God, but have you blah, blah, blah. Or like, I don't know. Oh, where was this taken? Like, anything specific. I want to know that you're not just responding like, haha, to the last 10 girls in a row. You have to have looks.
Shows that there's effort.
Yeah.
And it shows that you're paying attention. It shows you that you're being intentional.
Yeah.
And it also shows the fact that I'm not just one of many.
Right.
But good point for both people. It's on you to make a good profile where there is a talking point, because a lot of people, it's just my picture says everything about me and that's it, and then it leaves no room for conversation.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. How many people do you think you can actually connect with at once on a dating app? And I mean connect with, like, have actual conversations with.
2.
Okay.
Have actual like be going on dates with.
Like, I'm sure,
like
right?
roster?
Especially for a woman, you get matches all the time.
Thank you.
And you probably have a lot of conversations that are started.
Sure.
How many conversations are actually going where you're interested?
My attention span, no more than 2 to 3. 3 is like crazy, actually.
Okay.
2.
Okay.
Out of, it's so weird how you narrow it down, because it's like I'll find, I'm not that picky. I'll like actually like 10 different men on one day on the dating app, and then 4 of them match with me, and then 3 of them we end up going past just the match and we get a conversation going, and 1 of them is someone I'd actually go on a date with. You know what I mean?
Filtration system is wild.
It's
That's
crazy.
pretty good.
The
But
trickle down.
that ends up being one actual potential connection.
All
per
it takes
day.
is one. All it
Love
takes
that.
is one.
Damn straight, babe. Do you think a coffee date is good or low effort?
No, that's good.
Yeah?
I think, why not take, you don't know this person, still pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and also if I want a little biscotti, you better be willing to throw that in there. It can't just be
biscotti,
coffee.
huh?
You have to be like, oh, would you like a bite? That's fine.
I like the addition of the biscotti. I like the addition of a nibble.
Yeah, give me a nibble.
Like, I don't want to be like caffeinated, like crack the fuck out. Like, give me a little bit of a nibble. I also, but see, I back in the day wasn't a fan of a coffee date. I don't want to see you in daylight.
Yeah,
For the
day's a
first
little
time,
weird.
like totally okay for like the second or third date to go and do something in the daylight, but like I don't want to see you in broad daylight.
Right. What's the difference between coffee and drinks? It's just like a nighttime version of the same thing.
Exactly.
Right?
And also, if you don't drink alcohol, so many different.
See, I
iterations.
liked coffee dates as I got older,
Yeah.
because I want to see what you actually look like without being done up, and I want to see what your real personality is. And I think at night everything's a little, for both people, it's a little bit shifted.
That's
you're,
fair.
You're in night mode, you know.
I can understand that.
That's fair.
We just. Excuse me, I'm bapping up Diet Coke. We just touched
my
on
Diet
something. It's so like that first sip.
Is this gonna like explode?
Not probably. I didn't shake it. It shouldn't though.
Also, sorry, I think this just reminded me. I liked coffee dates because there was no pressure from both sides, in the sense of like when you're on a drink date, there's like the pressure from a guy where it's like, okay, if this goes well, I could go home with her, and then that has to go well. And then the girl could have pressure being like, okay, I don't want to go home with this guy at all, no matter how well this goes. How do I, when it gets to that point, safely say like, hey, I'm interested in you, but I'm not going home with you?
So the nighttime really.
Nighttime's a lot of pressure. Daytime, you're just having coffee, and whenever that ends, it's like,
Unless you really love
hey,
day
got
sex.
shit to do today.
Right.
Let's do something tomorrow
That's actually
night.
a fair point. That's a fair point. Never thought about it in that regard, but it's a fair point.
Fair point. Totally.
We just touched on something earlier in terms of like bare minimum, right? Like low effort. And I think that's kind of something that's really kind of running rampant within the dating space and a lot of dating conversations. And so I want to know both of your opinions, actually, because I haven't asked you this question. Do you think that we've romanticized low effort, or because we're afraid and people are afraid to want or expect something more?
I think we've romanticized the idea of like truly wanting something. Does that make sense? Like aspiring towards something or being passionate about something.
It's kind of like not cool to be able to do that anymore.
It's not cool to be you have to like keep cool about everything. You can't be like excited about anything, and maybe like putting a lot of effort into dating or romance and like sincerely and earnestly looking for love and romance maybe isn't something that it's cool to say out loud. But I think people should be very honest about that. If that's like, I'm very honest about that, how that's not what I'm looking for at this time. That way I don't catch people who are like, I mean, people fall through the cracks and then I feel like an asshole. But like, I try to be very direct. Like, I'm not looking for my husband at this moment. Yeah. But some people,
do you men like that? Do they get turned on by that? Where it's like, oh, cool, this is going to be more of a casual thing?
I think it's a problem where they like a challenge and they're like, ooh, I can change her. Like, that's the problem that I've been having. I keep getting in relationships with like guys who are looking for a family young.
See, I feel like you flip the script. I feel like women are usually looking for that, and the men in New York City are more like, nah,
right.
Not right now.
I'm looking for those men. Where are you? Come find me. I'm trying to have very casual things right now.
Interesting.
And I'm not trying to be like a pick me about it. I just like, I like to be taken to dinner. I don't want to feel cheap, but I'm not looking for my husband. And I know a lot of people who are like 25, 26, who are earnestly and seriously looking for their life partner. And that's perfectly normal and acceptable. But I think that maybe it's romanticized to be like chill about dating and like, oh yeah, bare minimum, like, yeah, I'm totally looking for something casual. I say, if you're looking for your person, say that. Be very clear, and that's how you will attract those people. You don't want to like pretend and then you're only attracting people like me who are just gonna fuck you over. Cause like,
I love that.
No, when you're upfront about what you want, your dating intentions, then hopefully that kind of leads you to the right people.
We should pay Talia to do a whole series: coffee dates, drink dates.
You're the one with the money, man. Let's do it.
Pay up.
Yeah,
she's expensive though. I've already talked to her agent. She's expensive.
That's not true.
No, I'm.
It's a joke. I mean, I don't know.
I'm her
conversations that
agent.
I'm not privy to.
Yeah, you should be.
I'm representing her.
Yeah, no. The short answer is I think we want the wow. Everybody wants the wow, and the wow is not a real thing because they watch movies too much. Sure. You go to a first date, and as a guy, you expect you're going to sit in front of the most beautiful woman who's got the best body, who's going to be the funniest, the smartest, and is going to fall in love with you in 2 seconds. And that doesn't exist. Maybe once in a while,
right? For
somebody. But we watch this in a movie, and every first date, it's like, oh, I wasn't wowed. It's like, well, what does wowed mean?
Well, what is wow to you?
Yeah.
Was this a wow?
No. The wow. So, no, it wasn't a wow. The wow was this. This was the wow.
What was the wow?
This was the wow.
Be careful.
When I first saw, I'm brutally
You're gonna go home with me later.
When I first saw her, I thought, oh wow, she's really pretty, but she's really tall. And I was like, this isn't gonna work. She's too tall for me because she had platforms on, so she was taller than me.
Sure.
And I was like, she's really tall. And then I hugged her, and I was like, okay. And she's like a model. She's skinny. I was like, maybe too skinny for me. So that's my first reaction. But I was like, she's super beautiful. Then from there, we sat down and had the best conversation I've ever had in my life. And I was like, so I wasn't immediately wowed. I was immediately caught off guard of things that not that I didn't like, things that
you didn't
weren't
expect
for me. But then the conversation, I was like, oh, this is like my best friend who I'm super attracted to. And then we just built off of that. So it's complicated.
And isn't it funny that things that you initially were like, a little bit over, particularly the tallness, is now something you value because I'm going to give you fucking athlete children.
Yes.
Excellent.
Ironic, isn't it, though? And so that's for people to think out there. Something that might be like an initial turn-off might be something that you really value later on in life.
There you go.
Wow, full circle.
There you have it.
What's the most bare minimum thing a person has done that you were actually impressed by?
What does that mean, bare minimum thing? What does bare minimum
low
mean?
effort. Low effort? Like someone's like, I didn't cheat on you. You're like, wow, thanks so much.
Oh my God. I was like, I mean, I look back on the crushes I had in high school and college, and I'm like, I actually want to kill myself. Like, I want to go back in time and shoot myself in the head. It's so bad. There was a guy that I was like obsessed with in college that I was hooking up with, but it was like we were keeping it under the radar. We like wouldn't tell anybody. So he was like, I just want to protect, like, this is like a sacred thing. Fuck. Can you believe? I was such a fucking idiot. I was like, oh, it's so sweet that he like really cares about keeping this secret. Isn't that insane?
I feel like almost every woman has gone through something like that, though. I know I have.
He'd wake me up at like 6:30 in the morning to get out of the place so none of our friends in the frat house would see me coming out of his room. I'm like, wow, he wakes up so early just to make sure that our relationship is like kept at beautiful little secret.
Climbing out the fucking window with like in your underwear. You're like, this is so romantic.
It's so romantic.
That's
It's
so
so it's like Romeo and Juliet. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? I want to strangle myself. I was doing that shit, but it's like I can't even blame him. Like I was like, it's like basically saying like, yeah, do it.
But you're doing that now. So
No, I don't lead people on like that. I'm very clear. I say like, but then I was recently talking to my ex who we broke up because of the circumstances, and we love each other very much. But it was like, I don't want to get married and have children and have that timeline the way that he does. And I recently saw him, and I was like, why did you? I told you very early on that I'm not a person who's thinking about that in the next 5-6 years. And he's like, but yes, you do give that. You totally do give that idea. I'm like, how did I give you that idea? He's like, you're asking me all these deep questions about like my family and my siblings. And like, obviously I think like you're down to like commit. What do you mean? I'm like, oh, so I asked about your siblings, and that means that like, I feel like we're just making conversation, but maybe I do have a problem with getting too deep. So I don't know.
But but that's actually a really good point that you bring up. Like, if you're clear from the start of like, I don't want anything long-term serious, right? But you still want to be intimate with somebody that you're with. You still want to have that depth with somebody that you're with. And whether you're with them for a week or a year, you still want that depth. So like, are you not allowed to have depth if you don't see a future?
That's the question I ask myself all the time. But I think there's a difference between depth and just basic respect. Like,
but I also
men
think,
confuse it.
I also think that's a huge turn on when somebody knows exactly what they want.
Yeah.
So it's like, you told him, this is what I want. And it's a turn on, and he's like, fuck, I want to be with this person forever because it's cool. They know what they want.
It's cool.
They're secure.
Right. It's cool.
I mean, confidence is really cool.
Confidence is the number one thing in dating.
Guys always say that, but it's like, do they really like it that much? Like, I feel like people are often mistaken for very cocky.
I think what they mean by confidence is self-assuredness.
Yes.
Yeah.
And self-awareness, right?
Yes.
So like you being so self-assured of the fact, like, I know for a fact this is not what I want. You're not going to change my mind. They're like, A, challenge accepted. Right. B, they love to see that, because I think by nature, a lot of men operate within a generalization, but like that cockiness, that the self-assuredness to the point of cockiness.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they'd be.
I think confidence is being who you are. And it's like, you can be in front of, again, the most beautiful woman in the world, and she could be sitting there saying, oh, I'm not pretty, and I need to get my makeup done. And it's like, okay, like, you know you're pretty. Like, let's just have a conversation. And then you could be sitting in front of somebody who's, not like that, but it's like, hey, this is who I am. I'm not a 10, I'm a 7, but I don't give a fuck. And it's like, oh, that's pretty damn sexy.
I remember something that you said, actually. This just reminded me, I haven't thought about this since that absolute date, but I remember the first time we slept with each other, and I've got like itty bitties, right? Like they're itty bitty. They're like less than an A. And a part of me had always been really insecure about it. But then I got to a point where I was a model for a really long time. It benefited me being a model. Mm-hmm. And I was like, fuck it, this is just the way that I am. And I remember one time I walked around naked in front of him, and he was like, it's just crazy that like you're so confident in your body. Like you just don't, there's no like thing.
If a guy said that to me and I was naked, he was like, you're so confident, you're so brave. I'd be like, oh, I'll just go out back with a gun.
That's fine.
Are you kidding?
Me. But it was the way in which he said it was so interesting to me, because I was like, the insecurity that I still had like deeply ingrained clearly wasn't showing an outward thing. And I was like, that's so interesting that you view me as like so confident in my body.
Right.
Whereas I like am quite insecure about that one element. I don't know. It was just like a dichotomy. And I just felt the need to interject that right now.
No, I get it.
I want to play some games, but before I do that, I wanted to ask one more thing about dating apps, because I think there's kind of been this like floating around within like the dating app space, and obviously as like dating app owners, we think about things like this, but do you think that dating apps should let you see reviews of the person like Uber? You know how like you go on and you can see like whether they're like good conversationalists, whether this, whether that, and they have like a star rating. Do you think that dating apps should do that?
I've always said, if I were to make a dating app, it would be this. And feel free to take it. Just throw me a little cash when it sells.
Kind of fair.
I think that there should be a sort of review system where I don't know how, this would be your guys' job to figure out as the developers, because I don't know how to do this. But some way to prove that you did interact with this person, like maybe you enter their phone number or something once you got it to prove that you got off the app and spoke, or maybe you send a picture or something. And only then can you write a review. But for safety reasons, for all kinds of reasons, it should be the review is only visible to women or like the opposite sex or whoever's looking. And you can't like go off and write something like insane about them. Like it can't be like a 2-paragraph novel about how they were supposedly terrible. they give you a set number of adjectives, like 100 adjectives, negative or positive, and you can pick like 4. And you can scroll through what other people have seen. And then sometimes people will say the guy was boring, or they will say that he was inconsiderate. But then there's like 4 reviews that have like all positive adjectives. So you don't know, but you have to prove that you've gone on a date with the guy. Like you have to have exchange messages, and it can only be visible to people who are looking.
That's a great feature.
From another.
So we have post-date recap.
Okay.
Where you get feedback and you can like say, it's more open. So it's like a paragraph, but you could say like how the date went, and then it goes into like your score.
Sure.
And then it's kind of the opposite, or a different way of like Hinge's algorithm.
Okay.
Hinge's algorithm is all based on looks and profile.
Right.
Ours is based on authenticity.
Okay.
So
how many times did you follow through with the date? How many times did you?
Yeah, just like how real were you? Like, did you go to the date and all that stuff?
Right.
With that, it's a great add-on. And if we do edit, we will definitely. You can
again. I'm her management,
but it's here.
We have it. We have the proof.
On
you can't steal
somehow.
it. But I kind of that idea comes from being in a sorority. Were you in a sorority?
No, I went to college.
It's okay. So they're in a sorority. It's like this crazy thing. You have to, in my sorority at least, when you're voting on the girls, when they're being rushed, you can get up and say a couple of adjectives from a predetermined list of adjectives. And that's how we keep things brief, and we keep things objective rather. And we just keep it like, you can't like go off into a tangent and say something about someone. And it just makes it more understandable, believable.
That's a way better
really
way of doing it, because I never wanted to do a rating, because I think, dating is sensitive.
Right.
So if you have a bad date and you say like, this guy was an asshole, it's like, well, was he?
Right.
Or was it just your perspective?
Well, to your point, like what you're saying is he was like, this person was boring, but was he just boring to you? He might be somebody who's like ultimate entertainment.
Right.
And so it's so subjective.
Yeah. And obviously if you get enough, then a trend starts where it's like, okay, if 10 people said you're boring, then you're probably boring.
Probably boring. Exactly. I'm like, I wouldn't write off a guy who had one bad couple of adjectives, but if it was like overwhelmingly positive, and then there were 2 girls who said that he was like a little inconsiderate, I'd be like, okay, so maybe he forgot to pull out the chair for somebody or whatever, but like I'll still go on the date. If 10 girls in a row say that he was like, would not chat up about himself, super unkind, didn't pay, little things like that, I'd be like, not my type of person.
Completely.
I love that, Talia.
Yeah. So yeah, like a couple adjectives.
I love it. I love it so much. Are you ready to play a game?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have this game here on First Rounds on Me called How Well Do You Know Yourself?
Okay.
Which is where I've gone to the lift. Scoop and lift.
Time. Scoop and lift. The worst shirt ever. Remind me to never wear this on a podcast ever.
Okay, I'll call you next time. Where I go to the depths of someone's social media, interviews, podcasts, what have you. I've actually just pulled this all from your social media because there was so much to do.
Oh my God.
And I am going to say something. I want you to either finish that phrase, answer the question, what have you. This is all things that you have said and done in the past. Do not say it.
I'm
Don't fucking say
I'm
it.
going to say the positive side of it. Murray Hillboy was the only one.
Max Cohen.
Oh, I
Max
love him.
Cohen
Love, adore.
got 100. The only person ever.
He remembered everything you'd ever said.
He remembered everything, and it was super hard too.
Okay.
He did a great job.
So, no
I'll
pressure.
try to beat his score.
You can't beat his score. You could
tie
tie
it.
with his score.
Shit.
You'll be the
Okay.
female lead.
Okay.
In July 2023, you posted a video in collaboration with New Yorkers that started off with, all I'm going to say is that you better behave like a gentleman, ... What was the end of that sentence?
I don't know the end of the sentence, but it was about a guy getting Venmo'd his rent by his parents.
Yeah, or set your Venmo to private.
Set your Venmo to private.
Some of you walk around like you own the world when you know damn well we can all see your mummy sending you a house and a dollar sign emoji on the first of every month.
Has it ever really happened?
What's your fucking
Yes.
attitude?
No.
That was inspired by a real person. I was like stalking his Venmo, and I only remember because you said July 2023. I knew I was about to go. My friends and I were doing a girls' trip to the Hamptons, and I shot that right before I got on the train. That's why I remember.
funny.
Did you confront him about this?
No, he has a girlfriend, but he was complaining to me about his girlfriend. I don't know why. I was like bored. And his Venmo came up on like suggested, like on the For You page of Venmo. And I clicked and I saw his mom was sending him rent. And I was like, you're walking around complaining about your girlfriend and this is you? Like, I was so turned off by that. And he's not even my boyfriend, not even a prospect. So
I love that there's a For You page on Venmo.
I
never
know.
knew
That's a big
that.
thing, yeah.
I never
love
knew
looking
that.
at what people
That's why
are
we
doing.
don't use Venmo.
Huh?
On First Rounds on Me, everyone's like, oh, we're Venmo. I'm like, no, we don't use Venmo.
Absolutely not.
Why? So you can't see what people are like.
Yeah, why?
We're not
Privacy.
Venmo.
He's like, he doesn't want to tell. He
no
doesn't want
Venmo.
to tell us.
I got it.
In a post in February of 2023 with the caption, "I absolutely love and adore sports. What was the food that you were holding?"
Sushi from MSG.
I didn't even need to be MSG.
Is it
just got
good?
Sushi.
It was Madison Square Garden sushi. I got it in the Delta Lounge. I felt really fancy. I got let in because I had like a friend who worked at MSG, and they provide sushi back there. And let me tell you, Madison Square Garden sushi is quite good.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Don't pay for it. It's not worth it.
If you get
to
it for
pay
free, it's delicious.
But if you get it for free, yeah. And you can
Okay.
get like any type of sushi in abundance is really good. Like it doesn't have to be that good, but if you have 15 pieces of sashimi, that's always good.
Delta MSG.
In the Delta
Knicks
Lounge.
game, sushi.
Yeah.
We'll get you that for your birthday.
That's
Maybe.
fun. That's a great trip. That would be a great
No
little-
promises, but maybe.
Okay.
In a static post in January of 2023, you posted a carousel of iPhone covers that you had. This is a two-pronged question. What are you and who I assume to be your friends doing in the collage version of the iPhone cover?
Crying.
Yes. Who were the 4 famous people you had included on separate phone cases?
Steve Sharippa of The Sopranos.
Yes.
Miranda Cosgrove.
Yes.
Kevin Jonas.
Yes.
Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Wow.
She did it.
Why those 4?
Why not?
Those are I had like a phone case deal with Casetify. They have this feature where you can customize a phone case, and I like had my manager negotiate so that all of the videos I made for that campaign were just making my own type of phone case. But I had to literally every 2 weeks think of a new phone case to create.
Why Steve Sharippa?
Because that was one of the celebrities I had stopped in the street for a picture. Like I ran into him. So I pitched to Casetify, what if I made a bunch of phone cases that were all photos of me with celebrities that I've met randomly.
Okay.
And the only celebrities I've ever met are Miranda Cosgrove, Steve Sharippa on 2nd Avenue, randomly on my birthday, I took a selfie with him, Kevin Jonas on a red carpet, and I had one collage of Adam Sandler.
I personally love that it was Kevin Jonas. I'm just going to say.
I know.
Steve Sharippa is a friend of the family.
You're kidding. Have you met
friend
his
of the
dog?
family. No.
Willie Boy?
Did you?
Who's
I'm
his
assuming
dog?
that you met him.
No. I met him for a second, but I follow him on Instagram, and he loves his wiener dog.
Is he single? Is he? It's a wiener
Steve
dog.
Sharippa? No, he's not single.
I love wiener dogs so
He
much.
takes it to the wiener dog like costume parties and stuff over Halloween.
Stop it.
I love him.
All right, a couple more questions. You posted a picture in December of 2022 with a bunch of balloons. What was written on those balloons?
Sorry, I'm such an asshole.
She's doing so well.
How many more do you got?
2 more.
Whoa.
Are you ready? In a post in December of 2020, which was a handwritten fan letter to Ashley Tisdale, where you started, I'm a super big fan. What were the names of your friends who also loved reading about her?
Holy shit. Oh, see, this is how self-obsessed I am. Like when you ask me to remember other people.
These are her real friends?
These were my real
they
friends
were
at
in-
camp.
From sleepaway camp, whatever the fuck it's called.
Yes.
Um,
Okay.
and they were all like, but
How
can
many
I-
are there?
Wait, there's 2 of them, and let me just caveat. There's one of them. You're like, this is my good friend, and then you're like,
the
another
other
friend.
one is another. Yeah. Okay, so I think the good friend was Kendra.
Yes.
I was really close with Kendra, and then Kendra and I would go to camp together. Where our parents signed us up together, and then we met some other girl. Kendra and Kendra and
So
I don't know.
she was a kid?
Greer.
Greer. I had a friend named Greer.
G-R-E-E-R. I've never heard of that name before in my life.
I had a friend named Greer in college. Greer at
I'm
summer
gonna
camp.
give a
You're gonna give it
Give
to
a
her?
thumbs up.
Okay, I'll give it to
that
her
was
too.
hard, and she did get one.
I
that's
remember.
true.
I'd never forget Kendra.
Well, this
Greer,
last
I
one is going to be
remember.
the shining defining factor.
Okay,
Right?
wow, for all the marbles
This
here.
is amazing.
In September 2024, you posted a video listing all of the laws that you would enact and enforce if you were, quote, the queen or the president of the whole earth. I want you to list at least 4 of those rules. However, and this is the caveat, this is where you actually could beat our darling Max Cohen.
Okay.
If you get all of them, which there's 7 of them,
Whoa.
you will be the queen of this game forever on.
Oh my god. First of all, thank you for doing so much. This is so much work that
You're
you put
welcome.
in. I made me feel really special. All right. Okay, one of the rules was there has to be a new popular water bottle only every couple of years. You
Yep.
can't have a bunch of new water bottles every year.
Mm-hmm.
You have to share, if you post someone died, you have to say why they died.
Yes.
If you okay, wait, hold on, I'm trying to like redo the video in my head. Here are the rules I would make if I was the queen or the president of the whole earth. Number 1, Because I have to watch my own videos so many times, editing them over and over.
Joey, right now, can you play Lil Dicky's "We Love the Earth"?
Don't bring up Lil Dicky to me right now. I can't get distracted. He's my biggest. I don't know how I don't have a restraining order from him.
Really?
You're a fan of his?
I love him so much.
I've found his house on the internet.
We had Gita on the podcast.
And he was such a gorgeous human.
He's a wonderful person. And he posted something really poignant and beautiful about the Jewish people. He was like, I'm a Jewish ally, and Shabbat Shalom or something. And I responded, I'm like, what a beautiful message of peace and friendship. Thank you.
He's a very peaceful person, I will say.
Peaceful.
Anyway.
He's lovely. And he responded, he was like, thank you so much. We got in a quick little conversation.
He always responds.
He always responds. Always. I said, oh my God, my mom and I watched Dave
I love
religiously. Dave. We call each other after every episode when it was coming out. And I told him that. He was like, that is so special. Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Also just the themes of which they touched on and how that's so personal to him. Oh,
he's so special.
Anyway, play Dave, Joey. But continue.
Okay. Okay, water bottles, death. I'm never gonna get all 7. It was
if you get one more, then you pass.
One more, and
then you pass. And then I'll read the rest of them out.
Okay, the rules are you. Yeah, my God, no. Fuck. I don't want to sit here all day.
It's okay. You did really good for 2 because there was a lot, and this is honestly, I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but also at the same time, it wasn't that short.
It's kind of a dub that I don't remember because that means I'm not
the first 2 were so funny.
The first 2 okay, so ready? 1 to 7. All golden doodles must be turned in.
Wait, what?
Golden doodles must be turned in
they have to be
the government.
Put out to pasture.
They cannot. They do not have to be euthanized, but they will not be allowed to reproduce. People in the gifted program in elementary school cannot mention it past the age of 18. If they do, it's a $500 fine. Then we go on to if you post someone in your life who's died on socials, you must either say how they've died or it has to be in the first line of the obituary. I must know. Every year on the same day, every man on earth has to watch Gone Girl. Every 3 years, I will decide what the viral stainless steel water bottle is with a committee. I've government fund for all men who quit stand-up comedy. And all Marvel movies must be done. There must be no more iterations.
Do you like my stipend?
Those are great.
Stand-up comedy.
I like the Gone Girl one too. I thought that was
those
fucking
are great.
Funny.
Why do you not like golden doodles? I mean, I don't like them, but
they seem like a human in a suit. They really freak. And I love animals. I just really don't like those animals. I'm sick of seeing them. And I'm not saying we should kill them, but then now I'm kind of sound like Doggy Hitler. No, I'm round them all up. I won't kill them, but we're putting them somewhere, and they won't be here, and they won't be allowed to make any more. So I'm take them off to the doggy camp. I don't want them anymore. I can say that I'm Jewish. And what was my other thing I was gonna say? Regarding
comedians.
Oh, the comedians. Okay, I was inspired because have you ever seen the show Hacks?
No, really good.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's won a lot of Emmys. So funny. There's an episode where she's this famous female comedian and this stupid idiot guy is doing stand-up, but he's just it's a classic white dude doing stand-up. He's so not funny that he's just those. You know them, yeah. So she literally is so rich that she has fuck you money, and she's like, I'll write you a check for $1 million right now if you never do stand-up again. And she did it, and she's like, invest it wisely, you'll never work again in your life. And I'm like, if I had that kind of money, I'd be going around paying people to stop talking. You know what I mean?
I can think of no better way to end that podcast. Truly.
The last one was pretty funny too.
That was amazing.
No more Marvel movies.
No more Marvel
same,
movies.
right? Every day it's oh, there's a new Marvel movie. What movie is this?
What could it in the video, you're you have to come up with a different concept.
Right.
No more Marvel movies.
None.
I could talk to you for hours. Truly and utterly. This is so much fun.
I love you guys.
That's right. We'll go out and have a bev.
Yes, a bev. Oh, how cute is she? I love her.
We'll have so many bevs.
Can't wait for your future.
Thanks, darling.
So many good things in the future.
So many good things. I can think of so many ways you could actually be integrated into the app as well. So we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
but, can you let our listeners know where to find you?
I'm Talia Lickstein. It's so hard to spell my name. You'll see it in the thing. I can't spell it out. And
Lickstein. I said it wrong at the start of the podcast. Then.
Did you?
I don't know. Maybe.
I never notice anymore. Okay. It doesn't matter to me. I don't. Whatever you said, it's probably something that one of my ancestors had anyway. Okay. I just changed it. So yeah, I'm Talia Lickstein, and that's me on everything. Literally everything.
Amazing. Darling, would you like to do our outro?
Talia. Yes, thank you guys for listening. Check out one of our past episodes. Subscribe. It helps us go a long way. We love you. Happy dating, and we'll see you next time.